Welcome, welcome, welcome. My name is Elizabeth A. Corshu. I am the founder and CEO of Nurse Exec Innovations, a career coaching brand and consulting brand designed specifically for nurses, healthcare professionals, and healthcare organizations. I'm also the curator of the platform titled Pass the Mic. Some of you are probably saying, what is Pass the Mic? Who is Pass the Mic? Well, Pass the Mic is a platform established for advocates, game changers, visionaries looking to execute their global footprint into the society as well as healthcare, business, technology, culture, and so much more. I am so excited and delighted and honored to have nurse inventor, nurse innovator, Brian Mohika, who is the inventor of Cathware. I'm so excited. He yields from Boston, Massachusetts, and we have him with us tonight. He's also not only a male nurse, but he's also representing, if I may, from the island of Dominican Republic. So I'm so excited to have Mr. Mojica, and thank you. I am going to pass the virtual mic over to you, and I'm going to ask you, Brian, if I may, would you like me to call you Brian or Mr. Mojica? What's your preference?
Brian, that's better.
Brian. Okay, great, great. So, with that being said, what inspired you to go into nursing? Because a lot of times, most people will say, well, why would a male choose nursing? So, if you can kind of share with the audience tonight, what inspired you to go into nursing?
I wanted to go into nursing well, first of all, thank you for having me. I wanted to go into nursing because I was working in the health field, working in phlebotomy, then as a medical assistant. Then I earned my degree in radiology, and I wasn't quite sure on where my career was going. But what I did know is that I wasn't spending enough professional intimacy with
Mhm.
patients.
Okay,
Sorry about that. And
that's okay.
for me, I wanted to spend more time with patients and their family members. I wanted to get into the patient chart. I wanted to understand medications better and things of the sort. And couldn't find that in any other career. Um,
Okay.
in that close proximity with patients, which is what I meant by the professional intimacy, getting to know them, their family, things of their past and whatnot.
Yes, yes. Thank you so much. And I dived into your background and I saw that initially before you became a nurse, you were on the radiology side. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Okay. Great. Great. So, can you just share with us how and when, if you can recall, how many years ago? What was the time? What was the moment that sparked your passion to pursue an entrepreneurial journey? Because a lot of times we hear the thoughts of, nurses need to become entrepreneurs. Nurses, we that's one area in our nursing curriculum we don't talk about business and entrepreneurial endeavors. So, how did you know that you wanted to embark on the entrepreneurial journey?
Well, when I was in my first year of nursing school, that was when I had a vision in the operating room for the medical underwear that I invented called Cathware. And as I was in nursing school, I was developing the product and patenting it, but I didn't open the business for it. I didn't know
Okay.
that I could open a business. I didn't know that I could be an entrepreneur and a nurse at the same time. I thought it was one or the other. I
Wow.
was Yeah, so I was trying to license the idea, and nobody wanted to take it on, and I'm glad that they didn't.
Okay. Okay. Awesome. Thank you so much. So, how did you decide? I mean, I know as a nurse, when I see Cathware, why you chose that, but can you share with the audience, especially those that are laymen or, just watching, will catch the replay, how did you decide on the name Cathware? And Was there a nursing encounter that influenced that particular name, that brand?
No, there wasn't a nurse encounter, but Cathware started as an acronym for catheter assisted therapeutic healing. And then we wanted
Okay.
to put wear so that it was like underwear, so that it was a name associated with things that you wear. And then it just started to evolve like everything. And that's why it's important to understand that the way your vision starts, it may not necessarily
Mm,
be the way it's going to finish or at least start to develop. Because we just kept writing and we had to write the C and the dot and the A and the dot
yes.
to
Yes.
show, that it was an abbreviation, if you will, not an abbreviation, but that it was an acronym. And
Acronym.
we we ended up just removing the period after each one, and then just left
Yes.
it Cathware, and it worked out.
Catherine. Wonderful, wonderful. So if I may dig back to the initial question where I asked, how did you embark on the entrepreneurial journey? So can you just share what that looked like for you when what was the aha moment that you realized that you could be both a nurse and an entrepreneur? Because a lot of times there's a lot of misnomers and myths about, you're leaving the profession if you become an entrepreneur, or
That's
you're
what we're
leaving the
taught.
profession if you move up, the ladder as far as, in leadership. You're abandoning ship, the clinical aspect. And we as nurses, we are always clinical. And that's why I, as a career strategist, career coach, I am highlighting nurses of all backgrounds, people in the healthcare field, to let people know nursing goes way and healthcare goes way beyond the four walls of a hospital. So can you just kind of share what was the persistent moment that said, I can do this. I could be both nurse and entrepreneur.
Well, for me, you hit a lot of key points there. We're taught only one way in school. You graduate, you go to a med surge floor. That's it. If you do
Mm,
anything
hmm.
different, if you do anything different than that, then you're doing yourself a disservice and you lost all your training and this or that. And that thought process, those paradigms, they're in a lot of places in life. And the people that
Yeah.
that truly reach great heights or greater heights are the ones that trailblaze, the ones that make their own path, the ones that say, I don't have to do it this way because I have a vision to do it a different way. And
Yes.
it's bad career practice because
Yes.
the way that you got to the other side of the Zoom and the way that I got to the other side of the Zoom are two completely different journeys. Yet we're here on the same platform, right?
Yes.
And we're just taught things. I mean, from grade school, right? Get a job and be a good employee. Nobody ever
Hmm.
tells you that. I was never, you know, brought up to think. Certainly, my dad is an amazing education and career, but
Hmm.
he always said was get an education and things will work out. But it was never,
Yeah.
you can be a business owner and you can have an idea. And certainly, I'm not trying to take a cheap shot at my dad here, but it's just what we're taught and things
Yeah,
that we
no,
say to
absolutely.
one another. So
Absolutely.
for me, I I almost fell into this entrepreneurial position by default because I invented a product, a medical device. I got it covered by Medicare. It's number one on the market, but nobody else was going to do that. Like I had this patent
Yes.
sitting on the shelf. Nobody else was going to do it, and nobody wanted to buy it. Nobody wanted to manufacture underwear and get into that retail side of it. And we were given the
Yes.
advice that we should we should open a business, establish the market, and then be able to sell it later on. We're certainly
Hmm.
not at the point where we want to sell it, but we are at the point where we are establishing the market
Wow.
and creating a need for it. And it's really
Yes.
special because nobody told me even when I started the business journey that I did this 9 years ago. I
Yes.
had the
Yes.
vision in the operating room 9 years ago, and I haven't made a dollar yet, meaning for myself.
Yes.
The
Yes.
company
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
certainly flourishing, but all the money, we just take it right back in. So what has been my compensation? My compensation is the joy of the journey,
Yes.
learning how
I
to
love
develop.
that. Can you repeat? I'm sorry. Can you just repeat
Yeah.
that part
Mhm.
again? People need to hear that.
That the
The
compensation
and the
is the
joy,
joy and the journey.
the joy of the journey. Love it.
Mhm.
Yes.
And
Yes.
it's
Thank you.
true. Listening to patients call our website, and telling how much we've impacted their lives, calling us crying, telling us how much it's helped a loved one, and it's sometimes, I hear these calls, and it almost sounds fake, and it's not.
Wow.
Right? It's
No.
really
Wow.
somebody saying these things on the other line. And they always come on those rough days. They always come on those days when you really didn't get much traction. They
Yes.
come at the end of the week, they come Friday
Mhm.
afternoons, and they just
Yes.
really send me off,
Oh,
in
wow.
further into the journey, but also into the weekend, and
Wow.
knowing that we're number one on Amazon. We have a 4.5-star rating for Cathware. We're the only product that's in our category that's invented by a nurse. We're the only product in our category that's covered by Medicare, for patients,
Yes.
all patients that wear leg bags. And we're at like almost 200 reviews, and everybody knows if you have a bad product, Amazon is going to let you know. But
Yes.
we
They
also
will.
know that if
They
you have
will.
but we also know that if you have a good product, Amazon will let you know. And the
Yes.
people,
And
the patients have spoken, and the caregivers have spoken.
yes. And one thing I really loved as I was doing my research on the product, it really has evolved from the regular leg bag that I was exposed to when I worked in trauma ICU. You only had one side, right? And it only didn't even hold 600 mLs, and patients would, fill it up on the first, urine experience, right? And then sometimes if they didn't get to to the restroom in a timely fashion or get home in a timely fashion, now this leg bag has exploded and urine is all seeping through their beautiful garment. So what I loved about Cathware, I don't know if you have anything next to you, but to show, but I loved how it's the undergarment and you have both bags on both left and the right side, so it can actually hold up to 1200 cc's, 1200 mLs. So one bag and one bag. And that literally can carry out person out throughout the day. So it's really, I applaud you, Brian. I had to have you on this platform, Pass the Mic, to really, inspire others with your vision. So
Yeah.
moving along, I wanted to know, you mentioned that you're a number one rating, Amazon. So is your product available throughout hospitals nationwide and globally?
We are internationally. We are not in
Okay.
hospitals, and that's an interesting question there, because these are things that I had to learn becoming business minded, right? Like I said to myself, like, oh, there's no, Cathware is going to be in every hospital, and they're going to buy it by the millions, but then I started to think about it. Hospitals, they don't
Mhm.
buy off of what makes patients feel good. Hospitals buy off of what's going
Mm.
to save them money, what's going to be more
Money.
efficient for them. Yeah, and that was hard for
Mhm.
me to understand, that business
Yes.
side of it. The other side of it too is, if you're a patient, and like you said, you were an ICU nurse, if you are on a med surge, and you have a patient that's admitted post op or something like that, you don't want to go in checking INOs and have to deal with the an underwear, and I mean just the hospital gown in itself is it gets in the way. So we didn't
Yes.
see, in an acute care setting, we didn't see a need for cathware. Where I do see a need for cathware would be when the patient gets discharged with a leg bag on their way out of the hospital, to be given
Yes.
a cathware unit, and then told where else they can buy it, which they can purchase it on our proprietary website, cathware.com. We have sales that we run there. We have um, the ability to provide them with marketing material, brochures, educational videos, and things like that.
Thank you so much. So, can you share with us what were some of the highs and the lows? Obviously, there's a joy, you mentioned the joy in the journey, but what were the high and lows of developing this brand for you?
The the highs of it was expanding my career. I went from just being a local kid, and now I'm on the international stage with this
Hmm.
brand that we've built. Um, that's really been the joy for me, is reaching patients as far as we have. We are selling in Canada. We partnered up with a nurse in Johannesburg, South Africa. We are working
Wow.
to establish ourselves in the UK. Every now and then, we'll send some units to patients in Europe, and that's my high. My low is realizing that my emotions were a crutch in the biz world. Nurses tend to be
Okay.
more emotionally driven, which is why we're nurses, and we love to connect and
Yes.
talk to
Yes.
people, listen to what they have to say, and also speak to people. And we say I love you a lot, and we hug and things like that. And in the business, they're not doing that. In the business world, it's very
No, not at
driven.
all.
It's very numbers driven. It's
It's
very
very
cut and
driven.
dry.
Yes. Very
You know,
metric centered
metric centered.
strategies. Yes. Yes. Yes.
Yeah, and that made it
Definitely.
difficult
Thank
for
you
me.
so much. Mm, that made it difficult for you? Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, it did,
So,
because I didn't
mhm.
have that way of thinking, and I went
Okay.
into it with people that I grew up with. I went into it. Everyone
Mm,
that's working with Cathware or for Cathware, they're right from our hometown. So I was
got
like,
it.
oh well, I didn't see so and so for 20 years. Like, we're certainly going to be hanging out again. And when we all got hands on deck, we've all grown and everybody's kind of gone their own paths. So I
Yes.
was like all excited on meetings and how's everybody's day, and things like that. And they weren't trying, they weren't trying to hear that.
Yes, yes. So let me tell you, one of my goals, and I'm working diligently on it, is that I'm going to create a curriculum that enters into the colleges and universities. And I would love to be able to highlight people like yourself to come into and speak with nursing students about the importance of, realizing your
Yep,
opportunity to become an entrepreneur. So
yep.
my
That's where
final
I see
question,
myself going to.
yes, yes, yes. So my final question to you would be, what advice would you give to a student nurse or a current nurse that aspires to be an entrepreneur? What are some, if you could sit back, you said you started this journey 9 years ago. What would be a letter that you would write to yourself today in 2021 about what would be an advice that you could give to either yourself, a student nurse, or aspiring nurse entrepreneur?
Well, the first thing that I would do, instead of writing a letter, is I would tell them about my new book, Let It Flow.
Okay.
That's
Okay.
available on Amazon right now. And I wrote all of those questions that I answered here today. I wrote about my highs and lows, and I wrote about this story that happened to me, which was really my first invention.
Okay.
My our 2-month-old son, he he's 11 now, but when he was 2 months, we thought he was going to die in his sleep because he couldn't breathe at night. His nasal passage was so blocked. The little blue
Oh,
suction device didn't work that they give you in the
yes.
maternity ward.
Yes.
And
Yes.
I
Yes.
couldn't, I couldn't get his nose to get clean, and it just sounded like he was going to stop breathing. He just had a lot of
Yes.
sleepless nights, and so didn't we.
Yes.
So I went into the operating room and I grabbed some tubing off of the wall, and I grabbed a yank hour. If you don't know what a yank hour is,
Yeah.
it's the
Yeah.
suction
And so you
device.
cut it. Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah. So then I
And
took
you
the yank
and you
out and I put a long piece of tubing on it. And then I went home and I
mm,
plugged one side, and then the yank hour bulb at the end stood out on the end. And I sucked
and
the mucus out, but it didn't go into my mouth. That's why I cut the tubing really long. so it stayed
Mm.
like halfway in through the tubing, and he slept
Yes,
like a
yes.
baby. He slept like a baby, pun intended. And then I would flush it out with warm water, and then use
Uh-huh,
it every
uh-huh.
night. So I was like, oh, maybe I should put a motor on the end of this with different settings, and it'll be a new way to suck the mucus out. The people that were in my life at that time told me that it was stupid. Friends told me that it was stupid. I showed it to his pediatrician, told me it was very, very discouraging, telling me
So
that
it was
it was never
so
going to
in
get
essence,
patented.
it in no, no. So in essence, just out of curiosity, in essence, I'm listening. So it was almost like you put an NG tube in him, hooked it up to, the suction, and just was sucking the mucus out. That's what it
Yeah,
sounds like.
correct, but it didn't go inside the nose because the Yankauer has like a bulb
It's
on the
thick.
end of it.
Yeah, yeah,
So it
yeah,
essentially just created a seal. It was too big to go
yeah,
into the nostril.
yeah,
Out. So,
yes,
but that's what
yes,
the doctor said. Like the doctor said, like what you said, like, oh, it's gonna go inside the nose, and it's gonna go near the brain, and you're never gonna get it patented, and the FDA is never gonna approve it because it goes too close to the baby's brain, and it's gonna be thousands and
yes,
thousands of dollars. Just forget it. And then about
yes.
a year or two later, somebody took a picture of it. One of the people that told me that it was stupid took a picture of it at Walmart, and it's being sold all over the world. So that's what I would tell students: don't quit, and don't seek satisfaction outside of your vision, because you're the one that's been given the vision. You're the one that knows how it works. You're the one that has the
Yes,
PhD
yes,
on your vision. So I started
yes,
asking people, what did they think
yes,
about it, and they didn't even know how it worked. So the doctor said, oh, it goes up in the
yes,
baby's nose, but one of the features was
yeah,
is that it had a bulb, and it didn't go up the baby's nose, which was a safety feature. And that's what I
yes,
mean about asking people for that. So that's the motivation that I
yes.
use for Cathware, to not quit. I've also invented other things after Cathware, and that's what I wrote about in this book, Let It Flow. It's on Amazon right now. I have 7 patents that I own for medical devices, 1 European patent, and it
I'm
all
I'm
started
so
from.
proud of you. I'm so proud of
Thank you.
you. Are you proud of yourself? I'm so
I
proud
am.
of
I am.
you.
I am, and
Wow.
came from that came from quitting. So don't quit, and
Don't
realize
quit.
that in those failures is where you're going to gain some strength as well. So there will be a lot of pitfalls along the way. There will not be a lot of claps along the way, but there's going to be people that are going to come along the way that you don't even know
Yes.
that are you. I've gotten more help from people that don't know me and don't look like me than I have for the people that
Don't
know me
know you.
that look like me.
Yes. Yes. One of our viewers just said, now that's a device. She said, that's a device. And then Tamiko just chimed in. She said, great job. That is wonderful. So I know you are pressed because you have another future engagement, but what is the best way? Number one, before we close out tonight, are there any other highlights? I know you have the book. Do you have, any new product coming out that you can speak
Yes.
about? Or do you? Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, we have a pediatric version coming out, and we also have a male and female incontinence version coming out soon. And if there are any urology nurses that are listening to this recording, please get in contact with me on LinkedIn at Brian Mohika, or on our Facebook page at Cathware, on Instagram at Cathware Official. I'd like to send you a free sample. Once you see Cathware, you can't unsee innovation. And us as nurses, we're obligated to innovate. We're obligated to invent medical devices because of our close proximity to patients. It's not about if we fail or if we succeed. It's about the patient. And
Yes,
if we keep our focus on reaching the patient's problems with our solutions, it doesn't matter what happens after that.
yes, yes. So thank you so much. That was going to be my other final was to ask what was the best way to get in contact with you. You shared it all. So my name is Elizabeth A. Korshu. I'm the CEO and founder of Nurse Exec Innovations, a career coaching brand designed specifically for nurses and healthcare professionals, healthcare organizations. And as you see, I am here to showcase nothing but nursing excellence. We had Brian Mohika, who is the founder and CEO of Cathware. Check him out on all social media platforms. Dr. Angela Jourdain said, love the comment. Nurses are obligated to innovate. So reach out to Brian if you have any questions or concern. My name is Elizabeth. I'm tuning off. Thank you for tuning in. Take
Thank
care.
you,
God
everyone.
bless. God
God
bless and
bless you.
have a great night. Take care. Bye-bye.
I know.